January 30th, 1945. The deadliest maritime disaster in history.
This is the Wilhelm Gustloff, a ship history forgot. Built in 1937, the Wilhelm Gustloff was a Nazi luxury cruise liner. Named after a murdered Nazi official, she was a propaganda symbol. When war came, the Wilhelm Gustloff became a hospital ship. By 1945, Germany was collapsing. Millions fled the Soviet advance. Desperate refugees gathered at Gottenhafen port, seeking escape on the Wilhelm Gustloff. Women, children, and wounded soldiers pushed forward in freezing cold. Thousands stormed the Wilhelm Gustloff, their last hope for survival.
Built for 1,400. Over 10,000 people crammed aboard the Wilhelm Gustloff.
Every inch of the Wilhelm Gustloff was packed with desperate refugees.
Captain Peterson knew the Wilhelm Gustloff was dangerously overcrowded. At 12:30 p.m., the Wilhelm Gustloff departed into the unknown.
The Wilhelm Gustloff sailed into the Baltic, unaware of danger below.
By 9 p.m., the Wilhelm Gustloff's lights blazed across the dark sea.
Soviet submarine S-13 spotted the Wilhelm Gustloff through her periscope.
Captain Marinesco saw the Wilhelm Gustloff as a military target.
Torpedo tubes loaded. The Wilhelm Gustloff was locked in their sights.
3 torpedoes launched, racing toward the unsuspecting Wilhelm Gustloff.
At 9:16 p.m., the first torpedo struck the Wilhelm Gustloff.
Chaos erupted. The Wilhelm Gustloff's hull was torn open instantly.
The second torpedo destroyed the Wilhelm Gustloff's swimming pool deck.
A third torpedo hit the Wilhelm Gustloff's engine room. All power failed.
Water flooded the Wilhelm Gustloff's corridors. Thousands were trapped below.
The Wilhelm Gustloff listed heavily. People slid across the icy deck.
Lifeboats on the Wilhelm Gustloff were frozen, solid, useless.
Thousands jumped from the Wilhelm Gustloff into freezing Baltic waters. The water temperature was -1 degree Celsius. Death was instant for most. Survivors of the Wilhelm Gustloff clung to debris in the darkness.
In these conditions, survival time was measured in minutes.
The Wilhelm Gustloff was sinking fast, her bow plunging deeper. 45 minutes after the attack, the Wilhelm Gustloff disappeared beneath the waves.
9:18 p.m. The Wilhelm Gustloff was gone.
Rescue ships arrived hours later. Few from the Wilhelm Gustloff survived.
Those pulled from the water were frozen, traumatized, barely alive.
Only 1,000 survived the Wilhelm Gustloff. Over 9,000 perished.
The Wilhelm Gustloff killed 6 times more than the Titanic.
The Wilhelm Gustloff was part of a larger tragedy in the Baltic.
Wilhelm Gustloff survivors scattered across Germany, forever haunted. Those who survived the Wilhelm Gustloff rarely spoke of that night. The Cold War buried the Wilhelm Gustloff story for decades.
Captain Marinesco was declared a Soviet hero for sinking the Wilhelm Gustloff.
Today, the Wilhelm Gustloff rests in 150 feet of Baltic water.
The Wilhelm Gustloff wreck is now a mass grave, protected by law.
No one is allowed to disturb the Wilhelm Gustloff's final resting place. Memorials to the Wilhelm Gustloff victims now stand in Germany. Authors like Günter Grass finally told the Wilhelm Gustloff story. 9,000 individual lives, each with their own story. The Wilhelm Gustloff disaster changed maritime safety forever. Debate continues. Was the Wilhelm Gustloff attack a war crime?
The Wilhelm Gustloff led to new laws protecting refugee ships.
Entire families were lost aboard the Wilhelm Gustloff that night.
The Wilhelm Gustloff was part of history's largest refugee crisis.
Every year, memorials honor those lost on the Wilhelm Gustloff.
Museums now preserve the memory of the Wilhelm Gustloff disaster.
Descendants of Wilhelm Gustloff survivors still seek answers today.
Why isn't the Wilhelm Gustloff as famous as the Titanic?
Finally, the world is learning about the Wilhelm Gustloff tragedy. The Wilhelm Gustloff, history's deadliest and most forgotten disaster.
Behind the numbers were real people with hopes and dreams.
Operation Hannibal evacuated 2 million. The Wilhelm Gustloff was its worst loss.
Stories of heroism emerged from the Wilhelm Gustloff tragedy. Modern evacuation systems exist because of the Wilhelm Gustloff. Digital archives now preserve every known Wilhelm Gustloff victim's name.
Ships still sail these waters, passing over the Wilhelm Gustloff's grave.
We'll never know the exact Wilhelm Gustloff death toll. The Wilhelm Gustloff tragedy transcends politics and nationality.
January 30th, 1945. The Wilhelm Gustloff. 9,000 souls.
We remember the Wilhelm Gustloff victims. We honor their memory.
The Wilhelm Gustloff story must never be forgotten again. Share this story. Remember the Wilhelm Gustloff. Honor the fallen. Rest in peace, Wilhelm Gustloff. May your story finally be told.